I actually don't like it when people divide it as like vegans and non-vegans kind of thing, because ultimately what like veganism is all about is like what you said, is really being more empathetic and really being more aware of where your things come from, and also being more connected with the things that we use and with other people in the world.
Welcome to the One Day at a Time podcast, where we take things one day at a time. Today in the studio, we have Chen Xi. Hi, Chen Xi.
Hello.
Can you do a quick introduction about yourself?
My name is Chen Xi. Right now, I'm a content creator on TikTok and Instagram. I create content about vegan and sustainable living in Singapore.
Okay, I think one of the questions that a lot of people have on their minds when it comes to like being vegan, right? People who are not vegan, or vegetarian for that matter, a lot of people, like including myself, always have are quite confused about what is the key difference between a vegan and a vegetarian.
Right. Yes, we get that a lot. A lot of people still don't understand what's the difference. So vegetarian, okay, so actually I was born vegetarian, so I know well what a vegetarian is. It's very common in Singapore. So vegetarians, they don't consume meat and seafood, and majority of vegetarians still do consume dairy and eggs. And many times vegetarian is a lifestyle that is because of like religious reasons. So they abstain from meat and seafood because of that. But for vegans, it's more than just a diet. It's a whole lifestyle itself. So it's a lifestyle that tries to reduce animal suffering as much as possible. So you do not take any form of animal products in your food, and as well as the things you use, you try as much as it is practical. Yeah.
So for you, how long have you been vegan?
There isn't an exact timeline, but it's about 5 years, I think.
I see.
Yeah.
So for you, because you were already vegetarian, essentially all you had to do was to cut out the dairy and the eggs. And do you also kind of do that across like the products that you use as well? Like your toothbrush, skincare, bags?
Yes. So other than just dairy and eggs, like I had to be more conscious about the products I'm using, like my beauty products and makeup products. So I don't dare to say that I'm 100% like I use cruelty-free products, because it's really hard to do like in-depth research. But like I try as much as possible. So like I do choose only cruelty-free products whenever possible.
Right. Yeah. So does being vegan include, abstaining from, say, like wool coats and stuff like that, because it is the wool technically comes from the sheep, right?
Yes, actually that's right. Yeah.
So even though you're technically not killing the sheep to get the wool, it is still maybe some practices are not very kind to the animals. That's why you guys are abstaining from that, right?
Yes.
So what is the main motivating factor, or rather is trying to kind of stop animal cruelty the main motivating factor for you to transit to become a vegan?
I think that there are actually multiple factors. It's very hard to pinpoint one.
Right.
But I think it's like when I was a vegetarian, I was very sure that I was a vegetarian because I don't want to kill animals. So I was like, okay, so I'm not going to eat meat and seafood. But at that point of time, I didn't know that, like dairy and eggs or like the other products I'm using actually also involve like animal exploitation or animal suffering to a certain extent. So it's after I found out on various channels, like maybe social media, online and stuff, like how the processes are in producing those products, that I was like, wait, that isn't what I stand for. So that's kind of how I transited to become a vegan. Yeah.
I see. So for you, when is your entire family vegetarian?
Yes, my entire family is vegetarian.
I see. And like you said, most people start off as vegetarians usually due to religious reasons, right?
Yes.
But for you, you continued to be a vegetarian and transitioned to become a vegan because essentially for your love for animals and living things, right? So apart from the many other reasons, I guess for you the main reason is still because you love animals? No?
Yes, but I wouldn't dare to say that I love all animals kind of thing. I think it's more of like I don't know how to
You just
put
want to
this.
be kind to living things and things like that.
Yes, it's more of like, I don't believe in having to exploit another like living being for my living. So like that's how I choose to become vegan. Yeah.
I see. For based on your experience, I'm sure because you have been creating vegan content on social media and all of that, you must have connected with quite many vegans along the way. People leaving comments. Based on your understanding, right? Do most people become vegan because of a similar reason, like animal cruelty, free of animal cruelty type of thing, or like why do people become vegans?
So actually the definition of vegan is very loose right now. So like most people think that veganism is just like eating plant-based food. Yeah. But veganism, the original definition is to like reduce animal suffering and exploitation as much as it is possible. So people who turn vegan usually is for ethical reasons as such. Yeah, but there are people who turn vegan because of environmental reasons, like because a plant-based diet has much lower carbon emissions compared to meat. So there are vegans that turn vegan because of environmental reasons, but like the original meaning of veganism is like based on ethical reasons.
I see.
Yeah.
So for you, do you feel like being a vegan, essentially like a more plant-based sort of diet, is more sustainable for the environment as well, or?
Yeah, I definitely think that plant-based diet is not just I think. I don't want to say that it's I think. It's more of like there are scientific studies and reports that do show that a plant-based diet has a significant lower impact on the environment compared to a meat-heavy diet. Yeah.
So is that also one of your reasons that you continue to kind of adopt this veganism thing?
Yeah, definitely one of the very big reasons as well.
So sustainability, not just towards animals and things like that, but towards the environment and the planet we are on.
Yes.
Just now you also mentioned that like quite a lot of people have quite a bit of misconceptions towards being vegan and all of that. Can you share with us a little bit on what are some of these misconceptions that you have come across and how would you usually address them?
There are so many misconceptions.
Maybe let's go for like the few common ones.
The common ones. I guess the most common one that most people still have sometimes is that you can't get enough protein on the plant-based diet. Yeah, but you can get enough protein and like from different plant-based sources. So that's one thing that you can just research online and you'll find a lot of studies that show you that you can get all your protein from a plant-based diet.
Right.
Yeah.
So for you, do you like actually track what kind of things you eat that gives you like protein and whatever, or you just don't really care?
I'm not I'm not very into tracking my nutrition kind of thing.
Okay.
I just try to generally eat as much variety as I can.
Right.
And that's how you get all the nutrients. Yeah.
What do you, for based on your understanding at least, right? What are some plant-based foods that is rich in protein?
I guess the most common ones in like Singapore is like tofu, tempeh. Then you have chickpeas, beans, lentils, legumes. Actually, even just like taking whole grains also increases your intake of protein as well.
I see. So you haven't really experienced, say, any health-related sort of issues after you turn vegan, right?
Not that I know of.
Right. Awesome. Okay, what other misconceptions are there that you feel like you would like to help debunk as well, like common ones?
Common ones. I don't know, like a few that is like some people feel like if it's only vegetables, it can't be tasty. So that's why I'm doing my content.
Right.
So to show people that actually vegan food can be very varied and very tasty as well. Yeah. So it's about how you cook it. It's not about like whether it's meat or it's vegetables. Yeah. So it can be equally tasty or even tastier. Yeah.
Right. Which is why you go around Singapore and everywhere in the world hunting for like nice vegan things.
Yes.
Do you find that being a vegan is challenging because I would assume that not everybody around you, like your friends, colleagues or whoever, they are vegan, right? Most of them aren't, right? So do you find that it is challenging to hang out with people? Do you feel like the social pressure of, people kind of need to accommodate kind of thing, does that cause any issues for you, like socially?
To be very frank, I won't sugarcoat it and say that it's good, like very easy. So socially, there are certain challenges because in Singapore, it's much better compared to like many years ago. Like there are much more like vegan options nowadays. So it's generally easier. But yes, when it comes to social gatherings, especially with people that you're not familiar with. With friends, actually, it's okay because all my friends usually they understand. My family understand as well. So they're very cool with going to vegan restaurants or even just restaurants with both options. But when it comes to like in the past, like maybe with colleagues and stuff, you can get a little bit difficult, awkward sometimes. Yeah, but how I do it is I'll always be the one that I propose the different choices. Like I'll do my research and find out which restaurants have like both options. And then I'll just like list the options for people to choose from. Yeah, like I am the one who is more proactive. So it's really in planning the meals. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I mean, that makes sense also, so that you don't get yourself into a situation where you go there and then you can't order anything, right? Yeah. How strict are you actually with the vegan diet? So say you happen to have to go for a company event and they book a restaurant or whatever and there isn't anything vegetarian or vegan on the menu. Have you ever experienced that, and do you kind of just like order something and ask the chef to remove the meat and things like that?
Yeah, that's what I usually do. Yeah, I would just ask them to help me customize the item to remove like the meat products.
Do you face any challenges or issues with that? Like maybe some restaurants are not too flexible with the thing?
So far, not really. Most people are pretty cool about it. I guess because like other than just vegan or vegetarian people making such requests, there are people with allergies and stuff like that. So far, like all the places I've been to, they're quite okay with customizing it. Yeah.
Right. So you haven't really, I guess, experienced a very strong resistance or challenge when it comes to being vegan. It is not too difficult to essentially get food vegan, even though it might be at a restaurant that doesn't serve vegan food.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Okay. Yeah. Like there's one of your pretty recent TikTok content that is talking about how many people seem to have the misconception that being vegan is a very expensive lifestyle, right? Because you have to vegan, okay, based on my knowledge at least, I do think that and understand that vegan restaurants and vegetarian restaurants tend to be slightly pricier compared to just your regular restaurant down the, like a regular shopping mall restaurant, like, I don't know, like a Aston or Swenson's type thing. Like vegan food and vegetarian food tend to be slightly more expensive. Like the common ones, I believe, in shopping malls you find are like your Green Dot type of thing. It's like slightly more pricey sometimes, right? So do you feel like that is true for you, especially in Singapore, that you kind of have to sacrifice a little bit by spending a little bit more money when you're eating out compared to if you weren't vegan?
Okay, this thing about vegan being expensive, I think it really depends on how you look at it. Like, I could say that eating meat is expensive. It depends on your choice. Right. You can choose all the gourmet products and live a very expensive non-vegan lifestyle. Right. Or you can choose to just, shop and cook more on your own, eat at hawker centers, and you can live a very budget-friendly lifestyle. So I would say actually it's the same for being a vegan. So you have a range of options from like hawker food, which is cheap, or buying whole foods at supermarkets is actually much cheaper than buying meat or seafood. So if you live predominantly on a lifestyle that is like cooking and eating at hawker centers, then it's a budget-friendly lifestyle. But if you do choose like restaurants or cafes, they are going to be more expensive. Yeah. I think the reason why people think vegan is expensive is because maybe they have been exposed to products like Impossible Meat and stuff like that, alternative meat products that are new. Right. So they are very expensive because of the technology required and the lower demand So those things I say are expensive, but if you don't buy those products, which actually I don't really buy those products, it's actually not so expensive. Yeah, but I think the problem is it is less convenient to choose vegan food outside. Yeah. So like, for example, I do have vegan hawker food options, but they are not so widely available like everywhere. So sometimes I might have to choose like a slightly more expensive restaurant option to eat for convenience.
Yeah. So that's it's the vegan tax, because from a restaurant owner's perspective, like they know that it is difficult, slightly more difficult for you to find good vegan food, and if they are serving good vegan food, then naturally they can charge you a little bit more for convenience, like you said, right? Like vegan tax and things like that. So for you feel like it is still doable, but sometimes, for the sake of convenience, you do sometimes just spend a little bit more to get some nice vegan food so that you don't really have to go and rack your brain on like how you can customize the menu or cook something if you don't have enough time because of work.
Yeah, that's right. That. Yeah.
So for you started making content, kind of almost promoting vegan culture and debunking like misconceptions about veganism and giving people tips on like how they can go and search for nice vegan food products and things like that. What is that like turning point in your veganism journey that make you feel like, hey, I want to be sharing some of these things?
Actually, this is much more of a personal thing. So I was at a point in time when I was reconsidering my career path, and I was thinking of like what I would feel happy doing, what is meaningful to me in life. So I was exploring different options, and I do realize that one thing that has been rather consistent is that I am pretty passionate about sharing about veganism and sustainability as well. So I was like thinking, so I might as well just spend more time on it. Yeah.
How do you decide what kind of content to create when it comes to being vegan? Because it's like you mentioned just now off camera as well, this vegan content thing is actually very niche, right? Especially here in Singapore. I think there are quite a lot of people in the US, in the West that do vegan content and things like that. But locally, also in Asia, slightly more difficult to find, right? So how do you kind of decide what kind of content to create and what, to say?
I guess I only started out with one intention, is that, like you said, I felt that there was not enough vegan or sustainability related content in Singapore and in Asia in general. That there is, but not a lot compared to like other niches of content. So I was like, I would just want to make content that can showcase how being a vegan is like in Singapore and in Asia. Yeah, so it's kind of how I decide what to show.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you made any new connections or new friends through creating vegan content? Like, you have like a vegan community club or whatsoever where you kind of get to kind of share resources or like tips with each other sort of thing?
Yeah, definitely. There are like quite a few other vegan creators or vegetarian creators in Singapore. So after doing this, I guess I've started to connect with more of them, which is very nice. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So I'm also actually quite curious as to okay, so for you the transition is slightly less harsh because you were already a vegetarian, but I'm sure you might have met certain people who transition to become vegan that finds that it's slightly more challenging because they were basically consuming meat products for their entire life, right? So as somebody who is vegan and knows a lot of vegan people, what do you feel like is the most or rather the best way to transition from being like a regular protein meat diet to like a vegan without causing too much shock to the body? Because I mean, if one day you suddenly just transition, you cut out every single meat product in your life, including dairy and eggs, I'm sure that the body is going to react, right? Because it's a hard stop. So do you have any recommendations for people who are keen to explore this like vegan diet? Like is there like a gradual process? How do you like start deciding what to cut? And
I think it's like starting any new habit. You take it gradually. Like, it's always best to not, go cold turkey. And yeah, so it's the same for me, like turning vegetarian or vegan. So I guess you can take like 1 or 2 days a week to opt for more plant-based meals. And then you can slowly add on to the number of days a week until you feel like you're comfortable with it. I guess that's like the best way to approach it.
The gradual process lah.
Yeah.
So just now you also mentioned plant-based meat, like all your Impossible meat and whatever. You mentioned that you don't really consume them, but what is your view on lab-grown meat?
Right. I think it's a very good direction that we're heading to. Because environmentally, it's much more friendly than regular factory farming and agriculture. So it helps the environment. And ethically, I think it's better because it still satisfies the need for and demand for actual meat,
right,
but without the killing of the animals. So I'm all for lab-grown meat. But whether I will consume it, I'm not too sure. It feels weird to me, like right now. Yeah.
Why does it feel weird to you? Like the taste is weird, or like the concept is weird?
I think it's like there will be nothing wrong for me to consume it because it was not killed from an animal.
It checks the boxes for you,
yeah,
right?
but it's just like if I ask you, what if I cultivated human meat? Would you try it? It's like ethically it's okay, but it feels weird. Like it's kind of
okay. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm quite curious. I have never actually found this out before, but it's always been on my mind. So I know for a fact that a lot of vegetarians and vegans, if you have been vegetarian or vegan for a while, like a couple of years, if you do end up taking meat again, your body will have a very adverse reaction. People will puke and like feel unwell and things like that. So I'm actually quite curious because lab-grown meat, technically the compound is the same, right?
Yeah.
Technically, it's just lab-grown in a lab. So have you or anybody around you ever experienced, you consuming lab-grown meat and then the body just kind of rejects it because it is just not used to absorbing or digesting like that kind of protein?
Not that I know of.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I might be open to try it in the future, but yeah, we'll see what happens then.
Right. Yeah. Because I'm quite curious. I have like personally witnessed like some vegetarian friends who like accidentally consume meat and then they puke and because the body cannot take it, right? So I'm just quite curious as to like for lab-grown meat, because it's technically real meat grown in a lab.
Yeah.
So I wonder if vegetarians or vegans take that meat, would it cause any adverse body reactions lah? But maybe you can let me know if you find out.
Sure.
Have you known anybody who has experienced that?
Not that I know.
Not really, but
yeah.
with so-called like real meat, accidentally taking real meat from animals, like it could cause certain reactions in the body.
I think it differs for everyone. Yeah, I guess not all vegetarians will have the same reaction. Yeah.
Depends on your body.
Yeah, I have accidentally eaten meat at a restaurant, like when it's a non-vegetarian restaurant, I tell them to not give me the meat, they accidentally give me the meat kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, but I didn't actually consume it. So like once I put it in my mouth, I was like, this doesn't feel right kind of thing. Right. So like, yeah. So I don't know if I will have an adverse reaction.
I see. But some people might have lah, depending on, but not you lah.
Yeah.
Okay, so for you, right, after being vegan for like almost half a decade, what do you feel like is the most rewarding part about being vegan?
I think health-wise, to be honest, I can't comment much because I was vegetarian my whole life. So I don't think the difference is that huge. I think the biggest reward is more of really being more aware of how like all the things around us are produced and how it comes about. It's not just related to our food. It's also like to other things. So like I was start thinking, okay, so I didn't know this is how my dairy and eggs are produced. So now I'm like, how are my clothes actually produced?
Right.
Are they produced in an ethical way? And then you start thinking about a lot of other things. And then you realize that we are so interconnected in this world. And then it's like, but we are so disconnected. Like we don't know where our things come from and how they come about. So I guess awareness is like one of the biggest thing I got from turning vegan.
Right, because being able to so-called check the boxes of being vegan, you need to be more aware of like what the sources are of your products, your food,
Yes.
and things like that. So would you say that the general idea of veganism is basically empathy and just being kind to things, people, environment, and all that? Like at the core of it, it's just about being more empathetic to things and people.
Yes, I think you said it right. So I do feel that veganism actually, it's not like, I actually don't like it when people divide it as like vegans and non-vegans kind of thing. Because ultimately what like veganism is all about is like what you said, is really being more empathetic and really being more aware of where your things come from, and also being more connected with the things that we use and with other people in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So for say somebody like me or many people who are not vegan, we hope to kind of, do our part in the world and things like that. But I still cannot give up the protein, because it's nice and stuff. But we can start one day at a time, maybe like literally every Monday I just eat vegan food, and then doing that is definitely better than just not giving a rat's ass, or like just not being aware, right? So like starting somewhere, and eventually whether you convert full vegan or not, at least you're making an effort to try to be more understanding of like what you said, like being aware of the sources and being empathetic. And if everybody does that, it can make a very significant impact to the carbon footprint thing, animal cruelty, and all that, right? Do you think so?
Yes, I think so. So actually there's a reason why like on my handle for my Instagram and TikTok, I put like imperfect sustainable vegan. I put the imperfect there because I'm not perfect myself also.
Right.
So it's like, it's impossible to be perfect in this world, like perfectly sustainable, perfectly vegan, because of the current systems it's built upon.
Right.
It's like somehow you will use something that is from environmental exploitation or animal exploitation, or human exploitation. So it's kind of impossible to avoid everything.
Right.
But it's about being conscious about it and trying to do what you can within your circumstances.
Right.
So yeah, it's like better to do something than do nothing at all, because you can't do it perfectly.
Right.
Yeah.
Best ability basis.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody that happens to be watching or listening to this podcast, and they have been wanting to kind of go vegan for the longest time because they also don't really want animal cruelty to happen, they also are keen on the whole sustainability thing, would you have any kind of advice or tips or any kind of thing you would say to them if they have just been considering veganism for a long time but just haven't really taken the steps to try it?
Is the same advice that I gave just now. It's like, don't be too hard on yourself as well. It is a very difficult process. If you think about it, you're changing your entire lifestyle, changing your entire diet, and it's also changing part of your social life. So I think it's like, take it one step at a time and then implement it in small steps, like a few days kind of thing. And I think most importantly is realize that there is a whole community and there are actually a lot of resources nowadays.
Right.
So all you have to do is like, you have to research well, and find your community as well. Like it feels very alone if you're starting out alone, like something new. But yeah, if you search online, there's a lot of other people who are trying to become vegan as well, or are vegans. So like, I guess finding your community helps as well.
Are there any like Telegram groups or Facebook groups or whatever for people who kind of want to start the vegan lifestyle?
Yes, there is a few Facebook groups that are vegetarian, but I think currently I'm in the chat that's called SG Vegan Kakis.
Okay,
So
it's a Telegram chat or?
It's a Telegram group chat.
Okay.
And channel. So if you don't want to be in the chat, you can be in the channel. Yeah, but what they mostly do is like they give updates about like vegan food or like new vegan products or vegan restaurants kind of thing.
I see.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good place to start, right? If you
Yes.
don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
Okay, so final question. What is your favorite vegan vegan go-to restaurant or food place? Like the absolute best for you? Like you feel like after anybody eats this food, they will consider becoming vegan?
Wow, this is a very, very difficult question
Because there are
to
many,
answer.
is it?
Yes, there's so many of them.
Okay, like
Must I
your
only
top three.
give-
Top three.
Okay, top three.
Yeah, best vegan restaurants. Okay, they don't even have to be in Singapore. Like
Okay.
literally, I know you have traveled and it hunted for vegan food and things like that. What's your top three vegan destinations or food that you feel like people need to try?
Wow, this is a very difficult question. Yeah, because I'm a very big foodie, right? I always cannot choose what I want to eat kind of thing.
Right.
So I think I'll give you restaurants in Singapore.
Okay.
Since we're in Singapore.
Right.
I think Warung Ijo is a very good vegetarian restaurant it's an Indonesian restaurant. They're not completely vegan, so they do have some egg products, but they're one of the restaurants where I bring all my non-vegan friends and they all love it. Yeah, they have really good Indonesian food.
I see.
Warung Ijo, and there's the Kind Bowl. They serve Vietnamese food, and it's also really good Vietnamese food that like my non-vegan friends like as well. Yeah, where else? There's this vegan coffee shop in Singapore called Makan Vegan in Geylang.
Oh, you made
area.
a video about that, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah. So that's also a very good choice for like a more budget-friendly meal as well. And it's very good.
So the entire coffee shop is vegan food?
Yes.
Like not even vegetarian, like vegan?
Yes. Yeah.
Where is this coffee shop again?
It's in Geylang. So it's like a 10 minutes walk from Paya Lebar MRT.
Okay, quite accessible as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so your top three. So Warung Ijo.
Yes.
Where is that again?
Warung Ijo, they recently shifted. So I think they're at Tai Seng now.
Okay, also quite accessible.
Yeah.
Right, Warung Ijo, the Kind Bowl, Vietnamese vegan food,
Yes.
and this vegan coffee shop place.
Yeah.
How often do you visit these places?
How often? I think at least a few times a year. Like every other month, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for coming down and sharing your experience as a vegan with us today. Really appreciate that. If anybody that is watching or listening to the podcast wants to connect with you, kind of start off their veganism, their vegan journey with your content, where can they find you online?
I'm on Instagram, Chen Xi Li, ChenXily _, and I'm also on TikTok under the same handle. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, thank you so much for coming in, and I hope you connect with many more people who are looking to kickstart their journey into the vegan lifestyle.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chen Xi. All right, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on the One Day at a Time podcast. Peace.